All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about hypothesis versus theory. So the purpose of this step is to kind of make an educated guess. So in a lot of cop drama shows like Criminal Minds, NCIS, CSI, Law and Order, I could go on and on and on. I have watched them all probably at some point. So, there's a big difference between theory and a hypothesis. There's also a big difference between a hypothesis and an inference. An inference is just kind of a guess, and the hypothesis is an educated, testable guess. Don't worry about inference. You don't need to know that. Just know hypothesis is an educated guess. Okay? And there are inferences too, but just don't worry about that. Let's focus on hypothesis, okay? And then there's also theory, and there's also law, all right? So, the next question is, well, what's a theory? I don't understand. In cop shows, they say theory all the time. What they're doing is basically an educational guess. Theory is based off of evidence, all right? And lots and lots of evidence put together, thousands of articles to support it. That's what a theory is. So don't listen to the cop shows, Keep focused on the evidence and then, go from there. That's what theories are. They're backed up by lots and lots and lots of evidence, all right? But the hypotheses, what they use on the cop shows, when they say my theory is, that's a hypothesis, all right? But hypothesis doesn't sound very good on TV, does it? No, it doesn't. Theory has a much more powerful word, or at least it did back before cop shows became really popular. Now, not so much. But then there's the law. So laws are proven by math. They are proven without a reasonable doubt. There's nothing that could potentially be missing. They are solid, 100% facts. All right? So we got the inferences. Don't worry about it too much. The hypothesis. We got the theory. And then we have law. Those are big steps. Don't listen to cop dramas when they talk about theories. Evolution is not just a theory. Evolution is based off of thousands of articles of evidence, and that's how it got to be a theory. Hypothesis is just an educated guess. But educated nonetheless. You have to do some research before you make a hypothesis. An uneducated guess is more of an inference. It's like, well, I think this. It doesn't really matter as much in science. So in order to get a hypothesis, you have to do some research. You have to put it together. And then you can work on getting to theory at some point. Or even law. So it's important to know what models are. You can use models to kind of help you understand science better and kind of give you a framework to work in. Because you don't just jump into science. You have to have some kind of organization, right? That's what having a framework is all about. You have to know your readers as well. So if you're going to be presenting this to teenagers, write it at a level where you think they'd understand. So it's not a step, but it is kind of locked into the hypothesis portion of things. But it's your plan. It's a big important thing because it's the plan that you use. It's your framework. And we will discuss the different types of plans later on during the engineering unit. And yeah, you can make your own model. You don't have to copy someone else's. You can make your own. It takes a bit longer, but you can do it. Then you got to test your hypothesis. So you got to use, experiments, and you have to kind of say, hey, here is my idea. Okay, this is my idea. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I think it's right, but it could be wrong. So I have to test it. And like a good scientist, you would make a model first. So the purpose of this step is to determine whether your hypothesis is right or wrong. Science is kind of black and white. It's either right or it's wrong. Who cares? Well, everyone cares. Everyone benefits from you making an educated guess and then testing it. And we'll discuss dependent and independent variables next week. So this week, I guess. So why should we repeat experiments? So that, you add some validity to the test. You make it seem like, hey, it's happened before. Look, it's real. That, and to make sure that it's really correct. So take a look at the start.